Hi, I'm Rachel Gable, and this is your Fair Cattle Markets update for April 4th. I just got an email from the American Lamb Board with a press release about the Power of Meat study, which I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to share some of these things with you. This particular study focused on about just over 1,500 consumers, and it asked them questions and looked at their receipts. So, I mean, it's better than standing outside the Whole Foods in Boulder, right? So this is the 52 weeks prior to December 27th of 2020. So I think that's why some of the numbers don't seem to jive with what I was thinking, because this is kind of pre-COVID, kind of. But at any rate, they're saying that 71% of consumers identify as meat eaters. Believe me, it pains me to use the identify as statement, but here we are. Vegetarians and vegans accounted for 6% of consumers, following a 16-year pattern of 5 to 7%, and pescatarians, who eat fish but not meat, came in at 4%, while flexitarians, who basically follow a vegetarian diet with the occasional meat, came in at 19%, and that also made up the fastest growing segment. The thing that really grabbed my attention here is that vegetarians and vegans were lumped in together and still only made up for 6% of consumers. I think that's tremendous. You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about the Pause initiative because it really takes up a lot of brain space for me, and it doesn't even pay rent. But anyway, I was thinking about Pause and how this is two vegan activists, animal rights activists, who don't agree with animal proteins, and they are doing their best to shut down animal agriculture. And to think that vegetarians and vegans make up 6% of consumers. And I would venture to say that the lion's share of that 6% is vegetarians, with vegans coming in at a very small percentage. So less than 2% of us are trying to feed the world, and less than 2% of us are trying to shut us down. It's really bizarre. Flexitarians, which I told you are basically vegetarians but eat meat occasionally, said that they gained 9 percentage points compared to 2019. During that same time period, meat eaters lost 19 points. I would say score one for COVID here, because all of the things that we've seen have shown how much meat consumption jumped during COVID. So I would say that that's old information, but that's just me talking. Let's see here. The flexitarians, which I think is kind of interesting. I have a good friend named Patricia, and I went to high school with her. I grew up near Castle Rock, Colorado, which now is kind of like a mall, but very affluent. I didn't grow up in Castle Rock, but anyway, the area is very affluent now, and but still pretty conservative. But anyway, that's where I grew up, and Patricia is a friend of mine from high school, and I speak with her quite a bit, and she's kind of my gut check when I need, okay, I'm surrounded by very conservative, meat-eating, rural Americans. Like, these are my people. So I need a gut check to make sure I'm not off base here. And she says, you know, I want to do what's right, and I want to do what's best for the planet, and I want to do what's best for, you know, resource consumption. So I would say that she probably falls into that flexitarian group. And I don't think I think it's just a balance thing. I don't know that they're hating on meat, for a better word. The important, the last thing I want to point out to you here that I thought was really interesting is the importance of meat in the diet seems to change with age. Consumers that are younger are less interested. The survey shows 79% of boomers say meat belongs in a healthy, balanced diet. Gen X registered at 80%, which I would say is like the 40-year-olds, I think. I get lost here in the which generations. The older millennials, 76%, younger millennials, 71%, and only 66% of Gen X agreed. That's interesting to me. there's so many things here, and I'd love to hear in the comments why you think that youngest generation doesn't think that the importance of meat in the diet is as serious as some of the others. And I don't know, there's a lot of conversation to have there, and I'm interested here in the comments. I'm working still on some research to answer some questions for you guys, and several of you have reached out, and I really appreciate that. If you have a chance, if you haven't already, if you would please subscribe to our channel, that would be tremendously helpful. At any rate, I'm Rachel Gable. This is your April 4th Fair Cattle Markets update about meat trends, and I'll see you tomorrow.